Welcome to the Inside Forbes Council's podcast. Each episode shares transformative insights and advice from members of Forbes Councils, a group of invitation-only communities for successful executives and entrepreneurs.
Hey everyone, this is Stephen Ganoza. Welcome to Inside Forbes Councils. Today we have some insights from Chen Amit. Chen is the co-founder and CEO of Tipalti, a leading global payables automation provider and a member of the Forbes Technology Council. He'll share his perspective on business automation in back office functions, why it's not just about cost savings, and how companies like Tipalti can help free up limited resources in smaller companies.
It's kind of obvious that technology can help you, but I think the impact software as a service as a whole had on businesses is tremendous. Much of the growth we've seen in recent years in the ability of younger companies to execute on huge promises and deliver tremendous value to their customers is through the cloud. And the cloud is really just computers stored elsewhere, and there's nothing too innovative in computers being stored elsewhere, but it really the impact is really that smaller companies, mid-sized companies, can now operate at the level of larger enterprises. Before, you had your IBMs, your Microsofts that could build large hosting centers and millions of dollars of investment and many people, and your 50, 100, 200, 500 person company could not make these investments and therefore was in a huge disadvantage compared to these large companies. And the cloud solved that.
Research from a 2018 report by IDG Communication supports this concept. It says that at least 73% of businesses are running at least one application on a cloud.
The cloud now makes a lot of resources that were previously only available for larger companies, available for smaller companies, a software that had to be administered, had to be installed, maintained, that smaller companies could not afford, now is affordable because it is managed centrally in the cloud. And I draw immediate direct connection to the topic of automation. Automation for mid-market companies was unattainable for the same reasons. That if you wanted to automate it, pre-cloud, if you wanted to automate your CRM, you had to install Siebel, and Siebel was uber complex to install, and only large companies could afford. Come Salesforce, now everyone has an excellent CRM that they can use. So I think the overall availability of automation tools, whether they are on the sales side, whether they are on HR. We ourselves are a mid-market company. We are roughly getting up to 200 employees, and we have great HR tools available for us and great, obviously, payables tools available for us because that's what we do. And we have a wide range of tools. We are very much into automation. It's kind of part of the DNA. And that allows us to compete at a higher level than we would have been able to compete without the availability of automation.
Small businesses aren't the only ones adopting a cloud-first data strategy. From large corporations and investment banks to governments, more organizations are comfortable with putting sensitive data on a cloud.
Initially, in the early days of SaaS, people said, I'm sorry, my data is too secure, too precious to put on the cloud. But the reality is that the cloud is more secure than putting it in-house, that the cloud is more redundant, that there's more availability, more security. Like, it was counterintuitive in the early days, and that's why there was some hesitation to use the cloud for banking services and private information-related services.
Chen's argument for a cloud-first strategy is not just about cost savings and security, but also freeing up an organization's most important asset, its talent.
Tipalti is also making two things. One is automating, just reducing the labor, but also upgrading the level of services that mid-market companies can access. As I said before, on the cloud, on just having the access to sophisticated services, we do that in accounts payable. We not only automate, but we allow very sophisticated finance and cash management and workflow and approval workflows and invoice capture and payment methods, all that being available very easily to the smaller companies and allowing them pick your marketplace, your edtech, your small business that is starting to operate at the level of large companies, at the level of Google. Now our customers can offer the same or better workflows and controls and access to services to their suppliers and their pays than Google. So Google, that had, just as an example, that had such a huge advantage just in the way they were treating their suppliers, they were providing good payment methods, good transparency, pace, because they had the muscle to do that. Now we allow our customers, which are smaller, to have that and higher level of value and tools that they deliver to their suppliers, making the relationship with their suppliers more strategic.
Automation then can be about efficiently using human capital.
Now, it's not only the labor-intensive aspect and the need to save resources. It's not only providing better service and better capabilities that were not accessible to mid-market companies, but these functions that are not core to your company will hold you back. So if you're executing manually in general, but also in the Tipalti case, but generally, if you're executing manually on things that you shouldn't, then you're wasting cycles where you can use your own resources as a leader, your team's resources more effectively by focusing on the core tasks, the core values, the strategy of the company. Again, in our example, if the VP of Finance or the controller or the CFO in some cases, if they have to deal with accounts payable tasks, that's not core for them. That's not where they should spend their time. They should spend their time on growth, on efficiencies, on international expansion. If they spend the time on accounts payable rather than on these strategic aspects, then you're holding yourself back and will not be able to make all the impact that you should on your organization. Automate these things, whether in finance or in HR or in sales, wherever they are. If you provide more automation, you free yourself, your team, your managers to be more strategic, to be more impactful, to focus on the important rather than the tactical and the mundane, and elevate the whole organization like that by allowing them to focus on the core tasks ahead of them.
If you'd like more content on business process automation,
when you look at any operations, you're always looking at the data to understand what happened. So we're kind of going in and helping them understand it's not always that you have to wait for after the fact. There is an ability for you to control your production line, control this process, control your assets, control how much energy you're utilizing.
People will think they know what the data means, but they actually don't. And then they make a business decision based on their misunderstanding of the data. And that could cost the corporation a lot of money. You could make a $1 million mistake because you misread the data.
If you haven't already, check out episode 17, where Mark Zions of Automated Insights and Humera Malik of Canvas Analytics discuss leveraging all that data your company has been collecting and how it may be used to help with automations. That's all we have for today. As always, thank you for listening.
This has been Inside Forbes Councils. Please be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you're a member of the Forbes Councils and would like to participate in our podcast series, please email your member concierge. If you're interested in joining a Forbes Council, learn more at forbescouncils.com.